Hello everybody! This is another episode of the Nutrition Club. It's provided by Community Health Programs. My name is Hannah Patterson and welcome to my kitchen. So this week what we're going to do is a Tuscan White Bean Soup. So in a traditional Tuscan White Bean Soup, you have obviously the white beans, which are also known as cannellini beans, or sometimes people refer to them as a white kidney bean. And then also in the traditional Tuscan white bean soup, we have celery, onions, carrots, a stock, and that's the base of it, the base of the soup. Sometimes you'll see it with some Italian sausage, which I have in a turkey Italian sausage, and also you'll see some kale in there too, sometimes. And then what I'm also going to do is add a little bit of tomato, Roma tomato, some cumin, and some rosemary. And then the funnest part is lentils. So it's another legume. It's going to increase the amount of carbs, but also increase the amount of fiber and iron, plant-based irons. So it's going to be really good and tasty, and I can't wait to try it. So let's get started. So I've prepped all of my ingredients, and I just want to show you how I cut them up. I have all of my onion all chopped up into small pieces. I have the kale just in kind of chunks. So these seem like kind of big chunks, but that's okay because when they cook, they're gonna cook down into a kind of smaller, wiltier size. So it's this whole 2 cups looks like a lot, but it's actually not gonna end up being very much. And then I have my lentils, the most important part. So I took my lentils and I made sure to rinse them really, really well. Soak and rinse. And I did the same with my beans. I cut my carrots up into little pieces, sliced my celery, and did my Roma tomatoes. And I have some of my rosemary here, and I have my cumin ready to measure out and good to go. All right, so now let's get to the good fun part. All right, so I have my pan heated up here. I've had it heating up for a little while, making it nice and hot. And I'm going to take my turkey sausage, add it in, no oil or anything, because in sausage, perfect. When you hear that sizzle, that's perfect. That's the perfect amount of heat. Perfect timing. So with this sausage, because there's so much fat in it, I'm not going to end up using any oil. So while this is cooking, all of that oil is going to come out of it, and I'm going to use that leftover oil instead of adding olive oil. So I'm going to sear them in their sausage lengths on all sides, and then I'm going to pull them out. We'll see in a sec. All right, so these puppies are pretty hot. Be careful. I like to use butter. So I'm going to take these seared turkey sausages out. See all that fat down there? That's perfect. You want to use all of that for sauteing your veggies. So I am going to put this to the side. Now I've got my onions. Sizzle! Don't mind me. I'm crazy. All right. So onions. My celery. And the carrots. All right. This is that. And get myself a spoon. All right. So get all those little bits up. Turn the heat back down just a bit. And we're gonna do some sweating. So sweating, if you haven't seen my previous episodes, sweating is a lower heat with more fat, so all that leftover fat, and we're just going to let it sit there and sweat all of its water. Let it all expel from all of those veggies, and just let the flavors commence. Let them flow. They're so good. It smells so good already. So I'm just gonna let that go, and we'll wait for what's next. Actually, we're gonna go and take that turkey sausage over there. Cut it up. All right, so here's my seared turkey sausage. Now, it's probably not gonna be done all the way, which is okay. I mostly wanted to get a lot of that fat out. And I'm just going to cut them into nice chunk-sized pieces. Chunky pieces. Chunky bite-sized pieces. That's right. And cut them all up and have them ready for when we put the stock in the soup. So I'm gonna get these done, and then we're gonna go check out the pot again. Okay, now I've got all my turkey sausage nice and cut up into my little bite-sized pieces. I'm gonna put that to the side and take a look at this. Now these are definitely nice and sweaty. No, that's not the right term. But anyhow, these look pretty much done. So what I'm going to do now is I will add my tomatoes. And add some of the rosemary, actually all of it, pepper, and my cumin. It's a newbie. Uh-oh. It's Hannah-proof. Not child-proof, but Hannah-proof. I got it. So, cumin can be pretty spicy. If you really like it, add more. If not, don't. Okay. I'm just gonna do about a tablespoon. Or not a tablespoon, a teaspoon. Big difference! Okay. So, I've got that in there. Now I've got my lentils. Let me see here. So, give this a good stir around first. These lentils, we're gonna let them toast a little bit before we put in any of our liquid. So, sometimes they get a little stuck, that's okay. Get it all out there. So, according to Harvard University, these lentils contain a slow digesting resistant starch that delays the absorption of carbohydrates with blood sugar lowering effects. And also there's other studies that are showing that lentils can lower blood pressure, cholesterol, and your blood sugar glucose. Pretty cool. Pretty useful. And that's just like the beginning of how amazing these lentils are. So these lentils I have right here are yellow lentils. You can get them in all sorts of colors. You can get them in brown, red, green. These are great. These ones are actually split lentils. So split means that the husk of the actual lentil is taken off and it's a little less hardier. So this is gonna be a little softer in here. And then it's like split in half, basically. They don't actually cut it in half, it just kind of comes apart in half once you remove that husk. So, yeah, I do believe that when you want it with the husk, a good one is the green lentils. They usually have some of the husk on there. They usually are sold that way. But each of them have some varying nutrients, just a little bit. But they're all still really great a great legume to add to your diet. They actually had legumes like this back in like Rome and Egyptian times. They found it in their digestive systems in ancient Romans and Egyptians. It's pretty cool. So it's been around for a long time. Let those toast just a little bit. Gonna add my sausages. Awesome. And these white beans, the cannellini beans. Add some of those. This is going to be so good. Just be careful with the cannellini beans if you have canned ones, because they're already pretty soft when you get them. So mixing them around a lot, it'll just be careful with that, because then they'll get mushy. You don't want them completely broken up. But with the dry beans, it might be a little better with the dry beans, but it means that you have to cook it for longer. All right. And then I'm going to add my veggie stock. Add this whole bad boy. Ooh, yeah. Oh, this smells so good. Okay. Now, lentils are kind of like cooking rice and even the quinoa, because it can be a 2-to-1 ratio, meaning 1 part lentil or 1 part rice or 1 part quinoa to 2 parts of a liquid. But if you have lentils with the husk still on it, I would do 3 parts liquid to 1 part of the lentil. Important, important. So I am going to bring this to a boil, and then I'm going to let it simmer for quite a while, just until I feel like those lentils are going to be soft enough. All right, so it's been simmering for a little while. I'm gonna check it out. Woohoo! All right. That is quite the simmer. A little more in the simmer. Look at that. That's coming out really nice. So what I'm going to do is take this last bit of kale and put it in for just like about 5 minutes. Let it keep simmering for 5 minutes or so. Then it's gonna get like a little wilted and make this soup look so colorful. It's gonna be so pretty. I'm so excited. Okay. All right, so we're done. We're done. That kale is all set and ready to go. We're ready to eat. It's super hot right now, but I'm going to dish it anyways. So this recipe is really great for making ahead. Say, make it on a Sunday and then serve it to yourself for a lunch, like throughout the week while you're at work. It's great that way, or you can even freeze it. It's good for about 8 people. So you could freeze it and use it again next time, or you could just serve it 2 times in a row if you have a family of 4, you know. But it's really, really tasty and yummy and delicious. So I hope you like this week's episode. And if you want the recipe, you can look at the info below, and you can also subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for next Thursday's Nutrition Club recipe. Bye everybody.